Tonight we will be exploring a career that is filled with unique and rich experiences. Our guest is a civil rights activist and known for his novels, poetry, short stories, plays, and for his essays, describing the pain and struggle of a black man in a white America. Essays well known for its homosexual themes, Tell Me How Long the Train's Been Gone, Just Above My Head, and Harlem Quartet. The Writer Studio is so proud to welcome James Arthur Baldwin. Our mission here at the Writer Studio is to trace the steps that led our guest to this moment in that chair. James, when and where were you born?
Harlem, New York, August 2nd, 1924.
What is your mother's name?
Emma Burtis Jones.
And your father's name?
I don't know my biological father, but my stepfather, he became my father, David Baldwin.
And what is his profession?
He was a preacher.
How was the relationship between the two of you?
Rocky at best. He was very rigid, very religious.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I'm the oldest of 9.
Is it true at the age of 14 you became a preacher?
Yes.
Where at?
Fireside Pentecostal Church.
And how long did you stay there?
3 years.
Tell me about your high school life.
Well, I attended DeWitt Clinton High School in the Bronx, where I worked on the school's magazine, where I published poems, short stories, and some plays.
Do you know of Richard Avedon?
Yes, he is my friend and the magazine's photographer.
For those of you who do not know, Mr. Avedon is known for shooting for Harper's Bazaar and Vogue magazine. His famous works include black and white portraits of Marilyn Monroe, Bob Dylan, Malcolm X, and the Beatles. Can you tell me about Richard Wright?
Richard Wright is my mentor and fellow writer. Richard helped me to win a fellowship to work on my first novel, although it went unpublished.
In the price of the ticket, you mentioned that is where your career started, and you owe it to Buford Delaney. Can you elaborate on that?
Buford Delaney is the first living proof for me that a black man could be an artist. In a warmer time, a less blasphemous place, he would have been recognized as my teacher and I as his pupil. He became for me an example of courage and integrity, humility and passion, and absolute integrity. I saw in him shaken many times, and I lived to see him broken, but I never saw him bow.
Tell me the events that occurred on August 1st and 2nd, 1943.
The Harlem Riot of 1943, Robert Bandy, an African-American soldier, was shot and wounded by a white policeman for trying to stop the police officer from using excessive force on a woman. Onlookers thought Robert had been killed, and it escalated to a riot. Also, my stepfather died of tuberculosis earlier in July 29th, and his funeral was on my 19th birthday, and my youngest sibling was born.
What happened in 1948?
A dramatic change happened in my life. Wright helped me to secure a fellowship in Paris.
How was it over there?
It freed me from the prejudice of America and liberated me to write about social inequality. And once I found myself on the other side of the ocean, I saw where I came from very clearly. I'm the grandson of a slave, and I'm a writer.
Congratulations with your first novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain, one of Modern Library's 100 best English novels of the 20th century. A semi-autobiographical narrative dealing with issues with family, relationships, and homosexuality.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Mountain is the book I had to write if I was ever going to write anything else. I had to deal with what hurt me most. I had to deal, above all, with my father. He was my model. I learned a lot from him. Nobody's ever frightened me since.
In 1954, Baldwin received a Guggenheim Fellowship. He published his next novel, Giovanni's Room, the following year. The work told the story of American living in Paris and broke new ground for its complex depiction of homosexuality, a then taboo subject. In 1963, you ended up on the cover of Time magazine. That same time, Martin Luther King Jr. made his I Have a Dream speech in the March in Washington. Everyone read The Fire Next Time, considered as one of the most brilliant essays on the history of black protest. A book which would go as far as attracting a large white audience. What brought you to the March on Washington?
I can say the fact as I was born Negro in this country. More concretely, I felt this was no way for me not to be involved. Was one presently the most significant, the most president, the most loaded to free Americans that has never happened in this country.
As we end tonight, we'd like to open the floor for questions.
Mr. Baldwin, are you considered part of the Harlem Renaissance?
I noticed a lot of symbolism in Sunny Blues. Would you care to explain the milk and honey drink at the end?
James, thank you for coming to the show.
No, thank you. It's been most interesting.